Hey guys, today is Saturday and we're gonna head out to Ma Barker's house in Ocklawaha, Florida. It's about an hour and a half ride from here in Palm Coast. And Ma Barker's house is the place of the largest FBI shootout in 1935. So let's lock and load and hit the road. All right, here we go, leaving from our usual gas station, fueling up before we hit the road. Again, heading west onto 304 as we make our way to Ocklawaha, Florida. There you can see my cool brake-free light on my helmet, and just taking a spin around to see Timmy, hi Tim, in the back there. And this ride again, I'm riding my 22 Pan America Special. Always seems to be my go-to lately, but I do need to break Elvis out of the garage and get him on the road, so he'll be on my next road trip coming up here soon. So here's Ma Barker's house. Ma Barker House is located in the Coney Island Recreation and Conservation Area. The home is famous for being the location of the longest gun battle in FBI history. That took place in 1935. So just cruising here on 304, heading west, and we ultimately end up on State Road 40 heading west. Just a great ride. Takes us through the Ocklawaha National Forest, passing Juniper Springs State Park. That's a place that we are hoping to go and do a motor camp weekend, so we'll definitely video that. But again, just fantastic ride, great for motorcyclists. Mostly, one-lane roads, very light to little traffic, so it makes for a great ride. This particular morning, it was a little gloomy out, but we made the best of it. Thankfully, it didn't rain, and the skies did clear up later on in the afternoon. So here we're making our journey to the Coney Island Recreation Area, where the Ma Barker house is currently located. But that is not its original location, but both locations, the original and where it sits now, are on the shores of Lake Weir. And here I'm just kind of Googling the ginormous houses that sit along Lake Weir and their properties. Maybe one day when I hit the lottery, we'll live as lavishly as some of these folks here, but just a beautiful area. And just all the beautiful oak trees, Spanish moss. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Love it. So here we're approaching the Coney Island Conservation and Recreation Area. Holy moly. If you love the oak trees like I do, the old Spanish moss hanging, this is just a beautiful park and recreation area that's located on Lake Weir. So here we're entering the Coney Island Park. Again, not the original location of the Ma Barker house. And actually, that's what it's famously known for. However, the house was actually owned by the Bradford family, and they actually ended up renting the house out to Ma Barker and her son Fred in the early 30s. So here we are again, just approaching the park and conservation area. There is a guard booth upon approach. However, it is vacant. So for the Ma Barker house, you can do daily tours. I think it's daily. We went on a Saturday. Reservations are required. You pay $10 per person, and you pick up a trolley or a tram at the conservation park, and they'll take you directly to the house. Here I looked left and about dropped my bike, as you're about to see here. You always say where your head turns, that's where you end up. Well, I almost ended up on the ground, but thankfully I had some smooth, quick action reflexes that kept me standing straight up. Happens to the best of us, right? So from that guard station, it's probably about a mile or so down where you actually get to the recreation park. Beautiful area if you just want to go have a picnic or swim in Lake Weir. Beautiful place. That road that you just saw there to the left, that's actually where Mom Barker's house is now located. Pretty interesting story about that. You'll see a picture here in a little bit, but they actually moved the house 2 miles across Lake Weir on a large barge. At the time, they were selling the home and property to put up condos, and the county, I believe, stepped in and said, no, let's preserve the home because of its historic value, and let's put it somewhere that will be taken care of for the rest of its days, and for others to also come take a look at and enjoy. But here's the Carney Island Recreation Park. Just a beautiful place with the oak trees, the lake, picnic pavilions, just a great place to come and hang out with your family. So just a little map of the actual Carney Island and what it shows along Lake Weir. Beautiful oak trees, as I keep saying. I was just kind of mesmerized by the beautiful nature and the trees in this park-like setting. Just gorgeous place. And obviously you can go swimming in the lake. Okay, here we are, Mom Barker's house. Ocklawaha. I know I'm not saying that right. Ocklawaha, Florida. This is Ma Barker's house, where the famous 1935 FBI shootout took out with Ma Barker and her son Fred. Get me out of the picture. So here is the house. This is not in its original location. It was moved 2 miles across Lake Weir to this current location. Ma and Fred Barker were found dead in the upper left bedroom. The Bureau of Investigations, it wasn't called the FBI at that time, so they had a 4-hour shootout, which to date is the longest shootout in US history, I believe. Many bullet holes are still seen in this house to date, even after the original owners did some repair and patchwork and that kind of stuff. But the home, for the most part, is in its original state with much of its original furniture. So, pretty interesting. Yeah, Ma Barker's house. Check it out. Ocklawaha, Florida. It's on a beautiful piece of property that you can't see Lake Weir, but that's where it came up from, through that clearing there. Anyway, so check it out, Ma Barker's house. We'll see you in a bit. So here we're just walking inside the house. It was a guided tour, which was great because the gentleman, the historian, was very knowledgeable about the house, the entire shootout, what preluded to the shootout, and everything that happened and transpired up to this point and within the house. So here we're just taking a walking tour, and you'll see most of this furniture is the original furniture inside that was present during the shootout. And here you'll see some bullet holes that are remnants, even the patchwork there that you can see that the family tried to patch up, and they unpatched to, show the historic event that took place in this home. So there's various different tales of how many bullets were whittled through the home, anywhere from 1,500 to over 3,000. But I think it's a pretty remarkable story that, these holes have remained since 1935. And wow, it's just a really cool piece of history. And I highly recommend anyone in the state of Florida take the ride, take the trip, and do this pretty cool tour. It's definitely worth it. Now, some of the home features, like the bathrooms, were remodeled to more recent date facilities. It does have air conditioning and that kind of stuff, where obviously they didn't have that in 1930. But this, I believe, is the room that both Ma Barker and Fred were found dead. They were, again, had the shootout with the FBI. A lot of historic features and the story behind it. I won't go into all that detail because this would be a much longer video if I did that. But all of this furniture that you see, that chair with the bullet holes in it, all original to date from that event. But this is the room that both Mom Barker, Kate, and her son Fred were found deceased from their shootout. Now, there are reports that this house is haunted. While we didn't have that experience, many others claim to have some sort of experience in the home of whoever's there haunting, whether that's Ma Barker, Fred, or the original owners of the home, Carson Bradford and his wife. You'll see a picture of his wife on the mantle of the fireplace. But the home was built in 1930 by the Bradford family, and they were looking to rent the home. And unbeknownst to them, Ma Barker and her son Fred wanted a place to kind of recoup and hide because they were on the run from doing some bad things. However, they offered, I think it was $75 a month to the Bradfords, and that was a price they couldn't turn down. So it was the first and only time the house was ever rented. And about 2 months later, the Bradford house was riddled with bullets and is the scene of the longest FBI shootout in history. The Bradfords at that time learned its true identity of the tenants, and they didn't realize they were the notorious gangsters of Ma Barker and her son Fred. There's Mrs. Bradford there. So here they moved the house from its original location 2 miles across Lake Weir on a barge. And just various artifacts are within the home, pictures, news articles, and that sort of thing. So as I mentioned earlier, the house was constructed in 1930. The gun battle took place in 1935, and descendants of the Bradford family donated the house to Marion County in 2016, and is still owned by the descendants all throughout that time in history, which is pretty cool. Ma Barker and her son rented the house through a realtor in November of 1934. The gun battle then took place in January of 1935. So pretty cool place. Highly recommend everyone check it out. Here we're departing now, the conservation area, and we're heading to Gator Joe's Beach Bar and Grill. Now this place is actually in connection and tied to Ma Barker and her son Fred. In 1934, while trying to find the Ma Barker gang, the FBI intercepted a letter mentioning an Old Joe near the Barker hideout. Lake Weir was pinpointed as it was found to have a big, humongous alligator known as Old Joe. So in January 16th, actually, 1935, the FBI found the Barker gang in the historic home a quarter mile from Gator Joe's, and which then, as I mentioned, resulted into the 4-hour gun battle. So here we decided to have lunch at the infamous Gator Joe's, and man, it was a great restaurant. I highly recommend. They actually have a claw or paw, or I don't know what you call it, Gator Joe, the actual gator. His foot is on display in the restaurant. But what a cool place to hang out. Awesome food. Tim got the gator basket, as you can see, plenty to eat, and I got the fish and chips, and holy cow, it was delicious. Tons of food, and neither one of us could finish it. So that's our trip to Ma Barker's house. Here we're just heading back home after a great ride. Very informative tour of Ma Barker's house and all that took place there. Highly recommend that visit, and then trucking over to Gator Joe's to get yourself some lunch. Again, Gator Joe's is about maybe 8 minutes away from the current location of where Ma Barker's house is located. So all good stuff. And then again, our fantastic journey back home through the back roads of Florida. Just had a great time, and yeah, go check out Mom Barker's house. As always, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment on my channel. Every subscription counts. I appreciate everyone out there taking a look at my crazy videos. Still learning as I go. As you can see, I'm doing different clips, different positions of cameras. And on this journey, actually, I think you saw it maybe in one of the clips, but I have the new Carpuride GPS on my Pan America. It allows me to connect to Android Auto, which I use on my Road Glide, my Tahoe, everywhere. So I absolutely love it. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you out on the road.